Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for Post-Completion in Under 5 Minutes. My name is Evie, and I'm the Client Delivery Manager here at LEAP. Today, we will look at how you can conduct your post-completion conveyancing in just under 5 minutes using LEAP's integrated searching provider, Infotrac. The webinar is in listen-only mode, which means that you can hear us, but we can't hear you. So, if you would like to ask us something, please click the chat icon at the bottom of your screen and we'll answer as many questions as we have time for at the end. I would now like to welcome Louise from Infotrac, who is going to take you through the integration and explain how Infotrac enables you to perform and manage your post-completion tasks through the pre-population of data from your LEAP matter, the online submission of your SDLT and AP1, and Infotrac's Ap1 Dashboard tool. So, without further ado, let's get started. Louise, over to you.
Thanks, Evie. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. Again, my name's Louise. I'm the product manager over here at Infotrac. I've been asked to just run through, as Evie said, post-completion in under 5 minutes through Infotrac. As some of you may be aware, Infotrac are a conveyancing service provider, and we have a full integration into LEAP's case management system. What this essentially means is just dramatically cutting down on admin time that you and your team would have to be working on for conveyancing and property transactions. How this essentially works is all of the information which you and your teams will be entering into LEAP on your LEAP card that you can see on the left hand here where I've done a sample, this can essentially pre-populate into any relevant fields over through Infotrac. We've got our little Infotrac button here nestled within your LEAP matter. So just to open up Infotrac, as I previously mentioned, we provide a full range of conveyancing services through our system. And we've actually created an iMenu workflow, and this will essentially help with compliance, help with monitoring, and help with managing your conveyancing workload. Obviously, if you need to go through AMLs, conveyancing searches, indemnity policies, and sort of your pre-completion side of Infotrac, we're all sitting in here, and then going on to SDLTs and AP1s, which I'll run through shortly. As I mentioned, any information which you do enter into LEAP will pull across into any relevant fields within Infotrac. So essentially, all of the information and all of the data which you have already captured within your LEAP matter is essentially sitting waiting for you within Infotrac. No additional information will need to be rekeyed if it's already been entered into your LEAP matter. So looking at anti-money laundering searches, we've got the details of our parties that are involved with this transaction, all of their address information. So really, we just need to start filling out the missing information. To go with the pre-population of data, I'll just run through a quick conveyancing search just to show you how it works sort of on the back end. So we can just select the address that we need to proceed on, and obviously this information is pulled through already. Confirm the Infotrac plan, and then it will bring us through to our selection page. The way in which Infotrac returns documents into LEAP as well, and whether this is to do with conveyancing searches or any indemnity policies, Land Registry documents, or say your SDLT5 certificates or your AP1 completion documents, any document which is requested through Infotrac and therefore returned as well will push directly back into your conveyancing search matter within LEAP. So if I just come out of Infotrac here, we can now see that the Infotrac work is starting to push back within LEAP. So nothing needs to be saved externally or uploaded separately. We all fire everything directly back into your LEAP matter. So nothing has to be sort of duplicated at all. It's all there waiting for you. In addition to that, any fees which get incurred through Infotrac will sit under office accounting and cost recoveries as well. So you won't have to post any disbursements directly to the system or manually yourself. They'll all automatically be there. What that essentially means, it sounds relatively simple, but it means that you're never actually going to miss a disbursement through Infotrac and putting any of your services through Infotrac. Everything is captured, everything is returned automatically. There's no room for human error, as everything will just fire back onto the dedicated LEAP case management system. So going on to the post-completion side of Infotrac, obviously, there's a lot of information which gets duplicated throughout your conveyancing transaction. So whether that is through an anti-money laundering search, where you've got your client information, searches, indemnities tend to go off of address, land registry information through OS priorities and bankruptcy searches. there's a lot of information which will get duplicated across the board. So it's really adding a lot of admin time where currently if you're going to sort of separate providers for all of these various services, you're having to rekey that information over and over again. And obviously starting off with LEAP on top of that, where that information is already being stored within the matter. By the time you go on to do the SDLTs and AP1s, these are really kind of an amalgamation of all of the information which, you know, there is potentially to do with a transaction. So SDLTs and AP1s, there's a lot of information which is duplicated across both of those forms. So just by integrating into LEAP, we're capturing actually 90% of the forms already, so that you don't have to go in and fill out each form from scratch each time. It's all sitting there ready and waiting for you. So to start with the SDLTs, you know, as the webinar suggests, this is a route for you to be able to submit your SDLTs and AP1s in under 5 minutes. So I'll just go through and fill out the missing information here. And this form, as you can probably see, is a mirror image of HMRC's form. You know, the fields are exactly the same. It's just a question of going through now and filling out the missing information as opposed to starting from scratch over on HMRC's website. I can calculate the tax within Infotrac. Vendors' details have already pulled through, vendor agents pulled through as well. My details, I'm acting as the purchaser for this transaction, are already there. So I can just go through and again, fill in the blanks instead of starting from scratch. And that's all there is to it with the SDLT forms. I've got the option to save and print. This will essentially give you a printable version of a form if you needed to send it externally or anyone else review it within the system. That will again pull back into your LEAP matter, so you'll be able to see the draft SDLTs you can see here and the actual pending stamp duty form. So just going back into Infotrac, obviously we're pushing more and more documents back into LEAP here. So I can just go back into the SDLT when you're ready to submit at any time and go through, check any of the details, update if necessary, confirm, and submit. As you can see, it's going to flag up any information which is missing just to make sure that the forms can't actually be submitted directly to HMRC with incorrect data. It's a really quick turnaround times, as I'm sure you're used to with HMRC's portal, for the SDLT5 to come back into Infotrac and push directly back into your matter. So once the SDLT is complete, we'll then go on to do the AP1. And again, very similar fields which are being mapped and pulled across from your LEAP matter. So I can just go through and add in the missing information. Address is all there. Application documents, I can just go through. I'll select transfer and a charge for this particular transaction. Calculate the fees and import any documents. And at any point throughout Infotrac, if you do need to import any documents, your LEAP documents will automatically pre-populate here. So here's one I prepared earlier. We can just select the transfer and import that into your electronic AP1. Same with a copy of the charge as well. The stamp duty land tax, the SDLT5, is automatically pulled across because we've already put that through Infotrac. And then the rest of the form can obviously be filled out in a similar manner to Land Registry's portal, with panels regarding the applications and panel 13 declaring who's who involved with the transaction. So we've completed the TR1 essentially here, and I can just add in a lender for the charge. So I'm actually unable to submit the AP1 just through our demo site, but this is essentially how the process works for filling out the electronic version of the AP1 form. This is probably a similar process to what the teams are doing at the moment, obviously with the pre-population of data and just sending out an electronic version of the AP1 form. There's obviously a much longer turnaround time with the AP1s than there is to the SDLTs. We don't get the completion certificates back in about 30 seconds, unfortunately. So what we've actually created is the Ap1 Dashboard. And this is just a really useful tool to help you not only submit your AP1s, but also manage any of the ones which are in progress or may potentially need any additional notice or attention from the teams. And this comes in again in the form of the AP1 dashboard. It's essentially a traffic light system, as you can see here. We've got high-level information of the matter reference, titles, who's lodged, lodgement dates, etc., and the application status. So just giving any of your teams in any of the branches of the firm a really easy overview of your application, and any ones which are, say, in progress, saved, not lodged, recently completed, cancelled, or ones which have a requisition outstanding. All requisitions are going to come back to you via Infotrac and via your LEAP case management system. And what this essentially means is we've created like a WhatsApp chat-like function for you to be able to respond to your requisitions to Land Registry. So there's no need to go externally, there's no need to go out of Infotrac and over to Land Registry system. We'll have a confirmation on the left-hand side of sort of the data which you entered into the AP1 when submitted, a submission receipt which gets generated as soon as your AP1 hits Land Registry side, and there's no manual intervention through us. The requisitions will come back in exactly the same format as you're used to, and it's the easiest process to respond to a requisition. You literally just type your response down at the bottom here, attach a copy of a document if necessary, and hit send, and that will essentially fire directly back through to your Land Registry caseworker to respond to the requisition as quickly as possible. Anyone can come in and have this overview of all of your AP1s, so you're not going to run the risk of missing any requisitions, incurring further delays or potential additional charges for missing requisitions or having to kind of review anything manually. It's all there giving you an overview at any time, just at your fingertips. So I've given you a bit of a whirlwind tour of Infotrac, and that brings it to 6 minutes with me kind of waffling on a little bit about the SDLTs and AP1 submissions. I'd like to open up the floor to any questions if anyone has any. We deal with unregistered land. Oh, so we've got a few coming through on the chat here. How do we deal with unregistered land? So at the moment, we just have the facility to have the full integration for the AP1 with Land Registry. So if anything needs to be dealt with, like an FR1 or anything like that, that will still need to go directly to Land Registry. But anything which can be submitted with an AP1, so transfers, charges, discharges, can all be submitted through Infotrac. Next question, does Infotrac allow for land transaction return submissions? At the moment, we don't. Unfortunately, when the Welsh HMRC created the separate process for the Welsh transactions, they didn't enable the facility for electronic submissions in the same way that like the English government can. As soon as there is the facility to do online submissions for land transaction returns, we will incorporate that, and obviously any of our clients based over in Wales will get the notification as soon as that facility has been built. Is there a screenshot printout or handout available of this webinar session? Any follow-up documents we'll send out to all of the teams as requested after this webinar. Is there a day list facility we can check? Yes, we do have a separate section for Land Registry documents just back on the home page here. And this comes under the Land Registry section within LEAP. So this is a separate area of the system where you can essentially get any sort of title documents. We can do an address lookup if you don't know the title number, document certificates, bankruptcy searches, full search, and we've got the day list inquiry as well. So this just means that you can pop in your title number here and obviously check any pending registrations. Is there a fee to use the SDLT and registration service? Yes, so there is a £3.60 fee per transaction for submitting, and yes, this is Infotrac's fee. So any of the other fees, so the SDL, the actual stamp duty, land tax, and the AP1 fees will still be paid directly to Land Registry, but the £3.60 fee is the admin fee per form. Are the transfers, deeds and mortgage deeds that are attached scanned versions with the signatures on them? So any of the documents which you actually want to upload with the AP1, those will pull across directly from within LEAP. So I just had a couple of dummy sort of blank documents that I added to this demo LEAP matter. Any documents which you've got within your LEAP matter can be imported into your AP1. So this essentially means that if you have like a signed copy of them on file, that can be what pulls across, or you can just pull across those specific ones which have been signed. Oh, well, if you do have any follow-up questions, please get in touch with us. We'd be happy to help and walk through any further queries or questions about Infotrac in general or just the post-completion side of things. If there are no further questions, I will hand back to Evie. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise, for taking us through the integration and all of the great features of Infotrac. I hope that you've all found today's session useful. If you're not currently utilising Infotrac's integration with LEAP and would like to start increasing your conveyancing efficiency, you can email sales@infotrac.co.uk. Thank you all for your time this afternoon, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.